ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the CoinGeek Weekly live stream. My name is just Kurt Wuckert Jr. What happened to Chief Bitcoin Historian? All right, I think I've got all the bugs worked out. So if you can see me in crystal clear, high definition for, oh no, there it is. It just popped up saying my connection is unstable. You have got to be kidding me. Okay, listen. I am not on Wi-Fi. I have not done anything goofy. I am hardwired to everything. I had Xfinity out here 10 days ago. This is starting to become like, what could even conceivably be the problem here? Maybe. And bear with me. I am going to turn off my Wi-Fi real quick just to see. So if I disappear, I will be back. I feel like I look and sound good, but it is warning me. Okay. Mr. Producer telling me I look beautiful, sound beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate it. If it changes though, Mr. Producer, let me know. Okay. So I'm back. I am not jet lagged. I have reacclimated. So it turns out if you make little balls with your feet on the carpet, anybody know that reference? Bonus points, maybe some tokens if you know what that reference is. But no, so I've been doing the thing. So jet lag legitimately kicked my ass a little bit. Like the timing of the flight, I get home at like 1 a.m. from London on Saturday. Yeah, like the first hour of Saturday morning. Oh, magic thumbs up too. Great. Cool. So we get home 1 a.m. Got to go through, customs and all of that jazz. All pretty straightforward. I'm like a global entry guy, and so that was fine. But I get home, I get all the way in and all the way like sat down, and it gets to like 3 a.m. by the time I get home because I live like 60 miles away from the airport, and it's a whole thing. So then my next day's nightmare. I get like 4 hours of sleep, went to jujitsu. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get up with the sun. I'm going to get right back into my routine. And then for like 2 days straight, I keep like, all right, I really, really need a nap. And then I go to lay down and then I'm like wired. I can't fall asleep. And so I think I'm finally all the way back on schedule now that I've been home. I think I've slept in my bed 4 nights now. So I think I'm good. Like, subscribe, hit the alert bell. This is the CoinGeek Weekly live stream. I'm Kurt Wuckert Jr. and you are my guest. And this week we're doing an Ask Me Anything show. So I really, truly, as the title implies, I would like you to ask me anything. It can be questions, comments, blessings, cursings, gripes, or gropes. It can be politics, culture, religion. It can be something super spicy. I can give marriage advice if you really want that from me. But truly, it's a Bitcoin show. And so if you want to talk about Bitcoin, the big block stuff, the news of the day, we can talk AI, tech, cloud compute, cybersecurity, whatever else. These are the options. I'm throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall. And if you have any thoughts, any criticisms, anything you want to bring on back, come and bounce it off my shiny head. You can do that. And I will do my very best to regurgitate it forthwithly and give you answers from the pit of my chest, from whence my heart cometh. I will do my best. I'd like to thank our sponsors. RockWallet.com. RockWallet, the number one rock wallet, number one wallet in the BSV ecosystem, but also giving you access to your BTC, BCH, Ethereum stable coins, and money, MNEE, the very first gasless, I had to look for the word, the first gasless token for stablecoin. So every other chain. So if you try to do this on Polygon or ETH or Tron or Solana, you got to pay a little bit of gas. Okay. So if I send you $1 on ETH or Solana or whatever else, and then say, hey, send that back to me, you can't unless you also have the base asset of the network. And so your Ethereum stablecoin makes it that I cannot just pay you one Ethereum stablecoin like Tether or USDC. I can't send you one unless I also send you some ETH, and then that ETH is going to have to be sent back, and it's going to calculate those fees on the fly. And sometimes those fees are going to be 10 cents, sometimes they're going to be 50 cents, sometimes they're going to be $50, and sometimes it's going to be $500 per transaction. But not with the money token. The money token is itself a painted sat. And so on that sat, you have everything you need. For anybody watching, if you're new here, a sat is the smallest denomination of Bitcoin. It's 1/100 millionth of a single Bitcoin. And so for that fee, you can send me back a penny or a sub-cent or any other delightful thing. And so... yeah, so really, really good stuff. Thank you, Money. Money and Rock Wallet. We really appreciate your patronage, your sponsorship. We do actually use it. I use it personally. We use it at Gorilla Pool. Rock Wallet's a really good tool. So thank you. If you'd like to line up your questions, please get them prepared. I'm going to say hi to everybody here in the chat by name. I don't have any Patreon, so I have nobody to specifically thank for, like all the cool YouTubers do the Patreon thing. I just don't. So what's up, Reno? What's up, Casey, Nicole, Ram G, Oliver Smith, Cool Cat, Cosmos, Ben Go, Joey Two Guns, Mr. Sean Durbin. What's up, my brother? Lord Gotti and Sean Durbin again. So this is great. Good to have you. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert bell. Please share with your friends. Let them know I'm going to be taking questions from the troll box. I'm going to take a little bit of a breather while we pay the bills with an ad from our sponsor. I'll be right back. All right, really good stuff. We are back. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. We're going to be able to see the live comments here at my lower. I think it's going to be my right hand if you are viewing on the intertubes, the tubes upon which the internet travels. So let's start with a question or two, Mr. Producer. Let's pick a fun one. Hola from overcast Northwest Florida. Also, let's send some prayers out to Jamaica. I think Jamaica is they're about to get hit with a Category 5 hurricane, and that island not going to be doing well. So if you're the prayerful type, and I am, we'll be praying for Jamaica. So send prayers. What's up, Ben Go? All right, let's bring that question back up. Let's start with Mr. Sean. Sean's an old friend of me. Maybe my oldest friend, my oldest contiguous friend for sure. We've been friends since like 4th grade. So Sean, thanks for watching. What do you believe the single greatest accomplishment of BTC, BSV, etc. will be in the next 5 years? So interesting question. I think it's entirely possible that we see some major fork war. There is a major fork war brewing over in the BTC camp. The knots versus core people. Basically, the small blockers versus the really, really small blockers is probably going to be the big event at some point in the next 18 months. They're going to have a big breakup, shakeup thing. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I imagine the bull run will maybe continue, but I'll be honest, man. The charts are looking crazy. I don't think they look very strong for a lot of assets. Frankly, a lot of stuff looks very, very toppy to me right now. But I think it's entirely possible that we get like a whipsaw kind of thing that for whatever reason propels BTC to $500,000 or something, some crazy number. However, I think that will also be precipitated by some other major macroeconomic event. Really, the last 2 times that we've seen a massive explosion in the price. Really, if you kind of look at it, it's every major massive explosion in price for BTC back when it was the Sol Bitcoin and all these other things. So I really think we could see weird macroeconomic thing turn BTC into another rocket ship and whatever. But that's really all it can do. It's the only possible thing that can happen with BTC because they are so committed to not doing anything else with it. Now with BSV, Terranode is now source available, open source, whatever you want to call it. But you can now see that what the big blockers have been talking about. So really, since going back to like Gavin Andreessen and Mike Hearn, or guys like Jeff Garzik, or talking about your like Roger Ver and some of these people, all the things, the abundance of what Bitcoin is capable of. Terranode has been out for like 2 months. Okay. Gorilla Pool's been testing it for the better part of the last 9 months. We are now contributing code to Terranode. David Case, who works with Gorilla Pool and adjacent on things like the One Set Ordinals project and some of those other things, is now committing PRs, pull requests to the Terranode project, just to make it more robust, make it more tough. Since it's now source available, these things are happening in the public repo. I think we could genuinely see block size, like basically computer science breakthroughs, the likes of which we have never seen before in distributed consensus. And then with that, like with the kind of volume that comes there, if that volume happens, or when that volume happens, I think it is inevitable. When it happens, it will be because of massive demand. And with that massive demand, I think comes an incredible amount of upside for BSV token holders, but also all the other stuff going on. I really think real world assets coming to the blockchain are going to be a very big thing. Right now, they're like 90% on Ethereum. But like I said at the beginning of the show, you need gas. And Ethereum fees, again, they spiked to like $500 per transaction again in the last 2 weeks. And like, that's not a viable thing. I can't send you $10 worth of gold tokens if I can't afford the damn gas fees. It certainly doesn't make sense if I have to pay a $500 fee just to get you $10 worth of an asset. And like, everybody that's got these things going on, all the people that have the desire to put gold and diamonds and salt and sugar and oil and everything else on the blockchain, they're going to go to the one that A, can scale to manage their actual business's needs, and B, fees that are not only low but predictable, because predictability is a really key thing for managing the way that your business is going to do its business. And variable fees, it's not going to work for anybody. It's never going to leave the niche if we cannot get that figured out. So that's the kind of thing that I think is happening in BSV. And I think that's in the next 5 years, we're going to see, the ultimate win or lose scenario. We either win everything, or in my opinion, every blockchain fails in the next 10 for sure. But at some point in the next 5 years, I think we're going to realize that, look, we either win this thing all the way or we're all going to lose. So thanks for the question. I really appreciate you kicking me off. What's up? Who won the This is Kurt Wuckert $150 competition video? Tim, I'm going to give it to you. You gave the best effort. I got like 7 video contributions. Everybody wanted theirs to be quiet. I'm still kind of waiting on Lex. Lex, if you're watching, I know Lex is a really good producer. I might make it 2 people because I know I know he was working on it, and I still haven't seen it. I'm not gonna guess why, but I'd be very happy to hand out $150 to both people. So Tim, send me your hand cash handle off DMs or whatever. I will send you the $150. I like the video you produced for me. And Lex, if you're watching, Lex, send me the damn video. I would like to see what you got, and I'd be very happy to make this a $300 total prize and give it to 2 guys too. But Tim, congrats! Thank you for the hard work and persistence. Also, your friendship. You send me lots of interesting things, like not just about Bitcoin, and I really appreciate you, Tim. So thanks for watching. Thanks for putting in that work. Gavin, real quick, Gavin, I think it's time to update your profile pic. That looks like it was taken on a Sony Ericsson phone or something. And you also look, that looks like a picture from the 90s. Gavin, I think you look better now. Let's get one done in 4K. We'll touch it up a little bit. I'll put a little bit of Lightroom pizzazz on it, and it's going to be great. Gavin, I love you, man. This may be inappropriate. How about the conspiracy backstory of our friend Small Block Champ Greg? Do I want to talk about Gregory Maxwell here on the CoinGeek Weekly live stream? Here's the problem. If I talk about Gregory Maxwell, I'm going to have to deal with tweets from Jendalyn Wins, who I don't think is a real person, but she just wants everybody to know that not only was she a big blocker, way back, and she's one of us, but also she thinks Greg is so nice and so smart and so handsome and so talented and all these other things that I just can't imagine a real human being saying about Gregory Maxwell just because Gregory Maxwell exists. And so there's a big part of me that thinks Jendalyn is just our dear friend Greg in sock puppet form. And I kind of don't otherwise want to talk about conspiracies surrounding Greg, especially on the air. And especially right now, I'm just kind of not in the mood. Gregory has officially retired, although people do send me posts. He likes to post about me in Reddit. So if you want to see the musings of a man who likes to be very philosophical and theorize about Mr. Wuckert, you can read about Greg's official opinion from Greg's official account on Reddit all you want. And you know what? Maybe he's right. So, no, Greg has a long history. We know the history of Greg. Just the things that we actually know about Gregory are enough. You can look at how and why he was fired from the Wikimedia Foundation by his peers. His peers came together to say, you know what? We really don't like working with this guy. He is dangerous. He is frankly let go for sock puppetry on Wikipedia because he was going into politically contentious articles on Wikipedia and editing them. Great sophistry, similar to how he does in the Bitcoin space. Big, long-winded changes to things that set some kind of a narrative. And then it always makes you wonder, who are the people that want this narrative changed? Does Greg really care about these political issues? Or is there some puppet string holder that says, Gregory, we need you to, make some political impact? So you can make your own decisions about what you think of Gregory Maxwell. He won't appreciate them. He will call you crazy. The 90s were cool. Gavin, no, I mean it though. We should do a better pic. That picture is like 24 pixels per inch kind of pic, man. That's like Super Mario, Nintendo, what it was, NES, Nintendo Entertainment System level photo. I think we should update it. I'm going to push it. Let's keep it going. Let's keep those questions coming. Please bring them. What trends do you think will shape the blockchain in 2026 after what we saw in London? So one of the big things that stood out is just how much the small blockers have insulated themselves from everybody else. If you look at everybody else now, so you have this group of small blockers, your BTC people, your Bitcoin Core, digital gold, maxi types. They have one big idea about what a blockchain is for, and it's for Larry Fink. They want Larry Fink to hold on to it. They want Michael Saylor to hold on to your coins, allegedly at some custodian, and then sell you leveraged derivatives via his stock in order to get rich. And that's all they got. They cannot do anything else. They don't want to do anything else. And that's their whole story. And it really, really sucks, frankly. And then everybody else says, look, we think blockchain should do something. Okay. So I think all of us can have a kinship with everybody from Ethereum all the way down the list to all the other people that do anything in blockchain. And that kinship that we have, at the very least, is that we think the blockchain should do something. And so I think, as a trend, I think real world assets, I think stable coins are crystal clear. Look at the Genius Act and Clarity Act and the way all this stuff is going. They want a mature blockchain to be able to use, to be able to facilitate real commerce. And so I think real commerce is coming. And then I think when real commerce actually comes, people will gravitate into BSV because, just like I said to Sean earlier, if you have a business model where the distributed consensus aspect, the tokenization aspect, the ownership asset, the control your own ID, control your own keys aspect of the technology is key. And also you want to have lots and lots of customers or lots of scalability for some other reason, you really only have one option. If you distill it down, if you bring it all the way down to, the what do they call it? The sorcerer's stone, which look what the sorcerer's stone. It's actually distilled urine. So if you distill the urine all the way down, you get that little stone of truth, the stone that brings eternal life and all these other things. And you get BSV. That's going to be misinterpreted. If you distill the urine all the way down, you get BSV. But what I'm saying is no. If you distill down all the great ideas and how to apply them and where they can actually work, you get BSV. You get the Terranode implementation of the network. And I think we changed the world. And I think that's really going to kick off in earnest in 2026. Quote it, make a clip out of this. 2026 is the big year. That's when things start to change. That's when real world assets start to change the world. And I don't just mean any one thing. I mean all the things. Imagine everything is money because data is money. That is what BSV gives to the world. I think that's going to be coming. Let's check my private chat here. All right. Question. How did developers react to the discussion about Terranode and on-chain scaling? Really good question. So one of the key things about the London Blockchain Conference, which was great this year, by the way, I want to give a round of applause. There's a whole team of people that I don't really work with because I don't work with kind of that wing of people that kind of work in the grand scheme of the BSV ecosystem. They have separated themselves because they want to be an open blockchain conference for everybody. They want everybody to show up. And we've really got people from all around the blockchain ecosystem, but also we got regulators and lawmakers and all kinds of people that are kind of adjacent to it. Also a lot of AI people and people generally in like cloud compute and some of these things. Philosopher's Stone. I see Lord Cody. Thank you. Sorcerer's Stone is a Harry Potter book. So I'm something. Yeah. So how did developers react? They were incredibly impressed. These are people that care about scaling blockchain. They're in the blockchain space because they think every blockchain can scale. And most people are not particularly technical. They hear the L2 ZK rollups and whatever else, and they're like, cool, that solves my problems. And if we solve my problems, I got a really good business idea or a really good government idea. I was talking to people from like the UN and World Economic Forum and places like Boston Consulting and stuff, where they have clientele or people they care about, or talking about the entirety of the global South that want to be using this tech. And they keep trying things like Polygon or Solana and whatever else, and they come up against these walls. And so when we're able to talk about why Terranode is special and why it enables all the promises that the blockchain people have made for the better part of the last 15 years, they're pumped. They see it and say, wow, I'm in. I'm all the way in. And this is incredible. I want to be part of this revolution. And so I got basically no pushback. I didn't have anybody start talking to me about, I don't know, is that possible? Is that seems fake or any of these other things. And yeah, I think we crushed it. I think London Blockchain was really good because it brought a lot of people under the tent and allowed us to have very, very frank conversations. When you have conversations one-on-one, all this like social media noise and all the nonsense, it just goes away because they can tell over coffee, like, oh, okay, this is actually a serious person. This isn't some, frog on the internet or whatever else. And that's how you win. You just keep showing people your face. You keep showing up, and persistence is going to win. Over time, you got to stick to it. And I think we're really starting to see the tide turn in that regard. The sea change, if you will. That's a Brendan Lee attribution. So, do British speak proper English or American? So I was working on my British accent, and people were telling me I was channeling Thor or Chris Hemsworth, who is Australian but does a pretty decent English accent. And then some people told me, well, Kurt, that's quite good. You could, this is passable. You could be a man from London. We might not say you're from London, but you do quite well at the impression. And so proper is a matter of perspective. And I came to appreciate the British accent. But I'll tell you what, it was really refreshing to get home and have people start talking about things in an American accent. Like as soon as we got on the plane, like my brother and I were like jabbing elbows for 10 hours on the way home, half trying to sleep and saying, oh God, isn't it refreshing being on an airplane with some Americans? And so I don't know, proper is certainly his perspective. I see IBM CoinGeek videos about how they are interested in Terranode. What exactly is it that they're interested in? Is it file storage, security, or are they interested in peer-to-peer cash? Uncle Josh, first of all, thank you for being such a frequent patron. Let's bring the question down so we can see my mouth. I feel like my camera perspective is a little different today. So, yes. So if you look at the history of IBM and blockchain, IBM hopped on really early on this concept of an enterprise blockchain. They looked at the technology and said, you know what, we have customers that could use this. So they created a project that they called Hyperledger. Hyperledger does a lot of things that Bitcoin was capable of doing in 2009, 2010, and whatever. And they optimized for a handful of very specific things in scalability. The problem is that the technology that they were utilizing fundamentally makes it private. It makes it consensus by the corporation that runs the nodes. And when you have consensus by the corporation that runs the nodes, you no longer have a public blockchain. And most of the good ideas, most of the things that people think are really cool about a blockchain, they only really work because it's public. So you get this public attestation of reality. And so lots of their customers looked at it and started to say, okay, why are we using Hyperledger? And so now it's got to be 3 or 4 years ago, they very kind of quietly sunsetted the Hyperledger project. But they did so while establishing a relationship with a lot of the BSV ecosystem. So this was folks a number of years ago from Enchain, or what was at the time called the Bitcoin Association, and some of these things talking about like, hey, we'd be very happy to help you. We have this scalable public blockchain. And if we work together, we think Hyperledger is a really good idea. But if we work together, we can do something really cool. So bring in some of your best minds from the Hyperledger project, maybe some clients that want to see a continuity of their blockchain project, but no longer want to use Hyperledger, especially since IBM is not going to be supporting it. As everybody knows, when you sunset a project at a company that size, you still offer support for 5 years, 10 years, whatever appropriate. I'm still getting emails about how Microsoft is going to stop supporting Windows Vista things. Is going back 15 years now, but ultimately there is a little bit of an integration or some cross pollination at the very least between the IBM Hyperledger team and the BSV people. Now, as for what they're interested in, it's primarily that sort of global data attestation. Also things like tagging corporate assets and things like that. So it's think somewhere like a mix of Internet of Things and some of the IoT related things that you might hear from the BSV space. Now, as for peer-to-peer digital cash, I don't think the Hyperledger people really care about that. But if you look at the clientele list of IBM, that includes some of the biggest banks in the world. And I think there is a place for commercial stablecoins. Imagine JP Morgan putting out the Chase dollar, or Bank of America putting out the BOA buck, or whatever. And I could see some of that kind of thing making its way from sort of Hyperledger incubation over onto BSV and Terranode. But I don't know how big, I don't know how big that is. I don't know if that will come from or through IBM. I don't know that there's a core value of the IBM teams, but it's certainly a possibility. It's one of those things like cash or cash adjacent that Hyperledger could solve, and therefore BSV can solve for Hyperledger's clientele. Let's take another one. How does money solve the back to Genesis problem? Did the stack solution okay, the question's a little garbled, Marcel, but I think I know where you're going. So back to Genesis, it's an interesting problem, because when you receive a token, you have to know that when the last person received that token, it was a valid token, and then the person before and the person before. You have to track that token back to when it was issued to know if it was a valid token in the first place, and therefore, when you receive it, is it valid money, right? Now, back when we were talking about run tokens or other colored coin style things, this is a big discussion. How do we do this? This is why Stas Strzok is actually a really cool guy, developed a Stas token to try to make this all done in script. And then you had a number of other people that wanted to solve these things. You had the token swap guys wanted to add an opcode into BSV to sort of subsidize solving the back to Genesis problem in Bitcoin script. It was ultimately decided no, we're not going to change the protocol just to make a certain token system work. But that actually is one of the major inspirations for the Jungle Bus protocol. And so Jungle Bus was a product created by Gorilla Pool that kind of does all that work in the background. It sort of tracks everything and pre-populates an index that works as an attestation for validity. And that can work on tokens. It can work on ID data or objects that work as open social data, which we typically would call B objects, B, the letter B, which is based on Unwriter's tooling, actually. And so Jungle Bus is a tool that sort of solves that in a commercial sense. And then when the Ordinals protocol came out in the BTC world, we looked at it and said, oh, this is actually a really good way to bootstrap a token, especially one that uses kind of a global overlay engine indexer tool like Jungle Bus. And so the Gorilla Pool team and the OneSat Ordinals team, we all kind of work together on these things because we looked at it and said there's a lot of synergy there. And I think this is the second time I said synergy. So this is starting to feel like a 2002 corporate cloud computing call. So I apologize. I'm old now. But so it can be solved in a couple ways. It can be solved in script. It can be solved commercially with an authoritative indexer. The way that money does it is with a second level type of authoritative indexer called an agent. And so there's a signing agent that passively signs every token as the transaction is created. And this is really important to do when you're issuing a legally compliant stablecoin, because various regulations require what's called OFAC compliance. And OFAC is what is it? It's essentially if somebody's on a blacklist, let's say there's some Russian human trafficking ring or whatever that they discover is using stable coins. And then the Department of Defense or the Department of Justice or somebody says, hey, you need to freeze their money. You have to be able to freeze that money in order to have a regulated coin. And so all you have to do is blacklist their address, and then they can no longer send valid tokens. So that agent, the money agent, basically does those two things. It works as an authoritative, back to Genesis, validity problem. So anyone who receives a money token, if it appears in a money wallet, it's a valid token. It has been signed by Money's agent, and Money, the company, what's up, Alex Vidal? Money, the company, guarantees that is a $1-to-1 dollar. Secondarily, you also know that it is not a dollar that is under criminal investigation for any one thing. And for anybody that understands a little bit about how fiat law works, you can actually, the police in the United States have the ability to take your cash, because your cash essentially is the crime. They can kind of treat the cash as a subject of the crime and hold it from you. And this is how a lot of police departments, especially in poorer jurisdictions, fund themselves. They say, we think you're a drug dealer, give us that stack of money, and they just keep it. And so that's the human OFAC compliance. But basically, money solves it that way. They solve it commercially by having a guaranteed signature when the transaction occurs. So you do not have to worry about money being valid as a valid token because of the way that it's bootstrapped. What's a sentinel in BSV? I don't actually know. Can you give me a little more context on that? I don't know what a sentinel is in BSV. Maybe it's worded. Is it from a specific app or a specific protocol or something? Let me know a little more about it, and we'll see if I can answer that question. Is Chainlink all BS? Will it ever do what they claim? Not entirely. Chainlink makes a few presumptions that are very Ethereum-esque, okay? And then what I like about Chainlink is fundamentally they want to connect the real world to the blockchain. And so they kind of work as a blockchain of blockchains that connects out to like using oracles to all kinds of other things. So there's like public APIs for attestations of all kinds of stuff. And if that stuff needs to be constantly updating its state on chain, Chainlink is a really good way to do that. But it presumes a global state machine at the base layer. So essentially your Ethereum style blockchains. And in that paradigm, it makes a lot of sense. If Ethereum was the way the whole world was going, then Chainlink is very necessary. In a BSV paradigm, it really isn't necessary. You can just connect to public or private APIs and put that data right on chain. You can have simulated state in script if that's the kind of thing that you want. And so while Chainlink itself is quite a good idea, it is predicated on the necessity of a bad idea, and that bad idea is Ethereum. So take that as you will. Next question, please. What was the biggest takeaway for enterprise and government adoption? Stablecoins. I've said we've talked about stablecoins a lot on this show, and everybody is interested in stablecoins and some kind of digital ID. There, especially in London, there's a huge pushback against Keir Starmer is pushing for a national ID. I've become something of an acquaintance to Neil Oliver over the last month and a half, maybe. He's a big anti-national digital ID proponent because with that, you go to use your ID for anything. And if you've gone over your carbon allowance for the day, or if you've done some other politically inconvenient thing, that essentially blacklist you. Like, hey, sorry, you can't buy that sandwich. That sandwich is going to the consumption of that sandwich is going to put up too much carbon into the environment or whatever. And we know how much you've consumed because we've been tracking you, and it's connected to your digital ID. So that's the Orwellian aspect of national digital ID. But a blockchain ID, lots of people recognize that a blockchain ID allows you to have ID where you're self-sovereign. The example that a lot of people gave is like, imagine an 18-year-old girl, she's in line waiting for the nightclub, and then she hands her ID to the security guard. Now the security guard knows her age, knows her address, potentially knows her blood type, whether or not she's an organ donor. And that is all kinds of information that nightclub security guy doesn't need to know. And if you know anything about how human trafficking works, especially in big cities like London, Well, you know that, hey, if you get, pimp down the street looking for 18-year-old blondes or whatever, he's going to talk to nightclub security guys and say, hey, look, we'll give you a $10,000 tip if you can let us know where super drunk blonde is going after she leaves the club. And then you get kidnapping and all these like really, really unpleasant things that happen because of that. But with the blockchain, let's say you were to have an attestation of your digital identity, and this girl simply shows a QR code and says, hi, I am 18 years old, and that is the only thing you need to know about me. And therefore, she can be let into the club without giving away any of her personal private information. She becomes a lot safer, and we become a freer nation because of it. People need to ask your permission to see any other information that puts the user in the driver's seat. And there's a lot of people actually worried about that sort of self-sovereignty in digital ID, and frankly, in human rights. Like, you own you, and a blockchain-based digital ID creates that power. So a lot of people were talking about digital ID, and a lot of people were talking about stablecoins. And so that was a big subject of discussion there at LBC. All right, let's see. Besides BSV, what other chains were most represented at LBC? There were kind of random people from lots of places. I saw a couple of discussions from like the Tezos ecosystem, which Tezos likes to sponsor things. Like, you can see them sponsoring UFC fights and F1 and other like extreme sports and stuff. So there were a couple of Tezos people. There's obviously going to be Ethereum people everywhere. I did talk to a couple of Solana folks, and that was almost everyone else I talked about. And then everybody else was like private blockchain or whatever else. So that's what I saw. Which speaker panel stood out most? I don't know about panel. My favorite presentation of the whole event was, actually, I take that back. My favorite panel. I'm gonna pivot here a little bit. My favorite panel. There were a number of young people, and those. Mr. Producer almost doxed himself. The train of thought centered. So there was a panel that had a number of young people, and they were talking about AI and AI data on the blockchain. I thought it was really, really good. I forget the names of the specific speakers, which is terrible because I shouldn't forget such things, but it was quite good. The best individual conversation that I watched was of Alfred Samba. Alfred Samba helped create the entire, or basically rebuild the entire marketing for the brand Gymshark, which is an apparel company for athletes and amateur, like people that want to be gym rats, gym sharks in their situation. And he talked about the personal brand. That was kind of the base topic there, is personal branding. And he gave examples of guys like Gary Vaynerchuk, or Steve Jobs, or Jay-Z, the rapper. And really kind of explained how their personal brand was so transcendent that it made it that the brand became sticky because of their personality. And then ultimately talked about business strategy to make it that, not only do you want to have a really authentic personal brand, but then you want to make the overall brand very sticky, such that he gave the example of Apple. You may get tired of Apple stuff, but if you have a MacBook and an iPhone and an Apple Watch and AirPods and all these other things, like, you kind of can't switch to just a Samsung device. Even if that Samsung device is like twice as good, you're not going to do that, because it's like, okay, are my AirPods going to work with it? Is my MacBook going to work with it? And so he talked a lot about that kind of business strategy, but he led with personality and relationship first, and then working on not only the company's personal brand, but the personal brand of the executives of the company, including himself. And I thought that was really insightful, because it's the kind of thing that I try to teach people. Like, frankly, I'm something of a personal brand. Like, yes, I'm under the CoinGeek umbrella and I'm under the Gorilla Pool umbrella, and these are like brands I associate with. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm Kurt Wuckert Jr. And it's up to me to manage my brand in such a way that it comes across as authentic. And the way that I've always done that is by essentially being me. I get two pieces of feedback when people meet me in person. So, and I met a lot of people at this conference who have like seen some of my podcasts or seen some of my interviews or read my articles or whatever. I get two things. It's, wow, you're big, or like, well, I'm surprised how much your on-screen personality is the way that you talk to me one-on-one in person. And frankly, I'm not a very good actor. I am a decent impressionist, but I'm not a good actor. If I don't care about a subject, I really can't pretend that I care about a subject. And so what Samba talked about a lot is how, like, lean into your strengths. Like, you have to actually talk about the things that you want to talk about, and you're going to create a tribe. There's enough people on the internet who consume content who are going to think that whatever you think is cool is cool. And so just focus on doing what's cool to you, and you'll build your audience with authenticity. And then keep showing them that. Show them the process. Show them the days that you don't want to do your job and why you don't want to do it, or why something sucks, or why it's hard. Do Michael Saylor talk about the hardest money in the world? It's if you just keep buying it, it's going up forever. You gotta. It hurts my teeth to do the Michael Saylor impression, and I wonder if his teeth hurt too. Let's take another question. But yeah, Alfred Samba, you should follow him on social media, and he really gives a lot of really, really good both business advice, but also with a focus on personal brand and social marketing. I think is crucial for everybody. Every executive should be a content maker, and so he's a really good example to learn how to do that well. Have you checked out Brain Rot Games? Yes, I have played it, and because I have played it, I get these little dings on hand cash all the time. And it's quite good. No, the games are great. So they're super sticky games. You start playing them, and they're the kind of games that are over in 30 seconds if you fail, but they can kind of keep going, and they convince, like, they're sort of like your Angry Birds style, or Candy Crush style, or Tappy Bird kind of games where it's like, I think I could do better. And you kind of, then you realize, like, 2 hours later, like, oh, I've been playing this stupid game. But the monetization part using BSV is fantastic. So big fan. Brain Rot Games is awesome. I couldn't be happier. Hi, Kurt. In his X post lately, I decoded parts of Craig's post where we could see a new global Bitcoin standard like gold in the 1900s. BSV, it's obviously the only one who could do this. What do you think? Craig is a master of enigmatic speech. He's really good at dropping hints. He's an expert in cryptography and all kinds of other things, meaning he's good at explaining things from that angle where there is hidden secrets sort of scattered all over the beach, as it were. I am not nearly obsessive nor autistic enough to decode most of the things that he says, but he occasionally will drop a nugget that will touch on one of the subjects or whatever that really lights me up. And one of those is the gold standard. So when we talk about why a gold standard matters and why it failed, like why we are no longer on a gold standard, or sort of claim to be and kind of are but kind of aren't, and this is speaking from, I got to touch the one of 2 bars of gold that are actually held at the Bank of England, and it was quite heavy, by the way, and it was pretty interesting to think about. The problems of gold are that you have to trust that the gold is there. Now, when you have a lot of trust, if you're Lloyd's or the Bank of England or Brinks or StoneX or some of these companies that have hundreds of years of history of continuity, for example, that's great. Now, I don't know the last time Bank of England had an audit, but I can tell you that Fort Knox hasn't been audited in my lifetime or my parents' lifetime or my grandparents' lifetime. And so we've got a lot of trust that there's any gold in Fort Knox. Now, what Bank of England told us is they're like, well, we had the Queen, God rest her soul, and at the time the Prince of Wales, now King Charles, they came and did a tour and checked things out. And they had an animation of Queen Elizabeth II and the Prince of Wales, Charles, touring, like looking around at these shelves of gold that are allegedly in the Bank of England. And you know what? Maybe they're there, maybe they're not. I am way out of my depth to say whether they would or would not have the gold that they say that they have. Fort Knox has always been one of those things that has made me feel like probably isn't there, given the U.S.'s financial situation since the end of the Bretton Woods Agreement, 1973, if I recall properly. But that's another really important thing. So if you can have global attestation of gold and put that gold on the blockchain, that's one thing to do, but you're still trusting the custodian. However, and this is why I really, really care about data. So data is money. Data is the value that a blockchain stores. So you can talk about Bitcoin as a store of value And most people do, but they don't understand that the value that Bitcoin stores is not the abstraction that we call the price. It's not the $100,000 a coin. That's transient. What is permanent is the data that's on the blockchain. And those Bitcoins are the unit of account that allows you access to that data. It allows you to spend the data. It allows you to monetize that data. And the monetization of said data then itself can become the value that is stored. Jack Pitts calls it the computational commodity. And so if computation of important data that you can verify is true, well, then that itself becomes the store of data. If the sum total of what makes a people or a culture important is their legacy, is their history, is their culture, well, then you can consolidate that into something that is truly globally verifiable, and then you can monetize that. So that I could see BSV becoming a global store of value for that specific reason, and then, I mean, that's it. That's game over. For the bad guys, the people who want you to just trust that they have the gold and pay them to have you trust them. But in this situation, everybody can verify what is that data there. It makes us all the illuminated ones, the Illuminati, if it were. It takes that from a secret hierarchy and it makes it public data. We all become the illuminated ones. And then that store of value is the fact that we can all validate and verify the data of everything. That's a true store of value. That's a total game changer for everything. So that's what I want to see. That's why I'm here. Touching BOE bars of gold. Did you stop by the Louvre while you were over there too? Yeah, we've been trying to melt the crown since we got back. No, the Louvre story. That Louvre story is crazy. That it strikes me as like almost certainly has to be some kind of an inside job. And by inside, I don't just mean the Louvre people, but potentially inside the French government or something too. France is broke, and I could see them potentially trying to sell national assets to pay off debts. That's not a thing that would have been terribly uncommon in years past. It's just now that it's very easy to hear about and find out about. And so I can't imagine any other way that could have been possible other than to have some serious inside coordination. But as for the Bank of England, that bar of gold is on public display. You have to reach through like a bulletproof case, and you can physically pick it up, and they let you hold it. You just can't. You can move it like, I don't know, an inch or two every direction, but like you cannot conceivably pull it out of the hole. But it was very, very cool. Let's take another one. Can you share memorable behind the scenes moments from the conference floor? I don't know so much about, memorable moments for me. Like, first of all, it's just really nice to see old friends and colleagues and that kind of thing. So it's, your CoinGeek people and some of the people that work adjacent at Bopper Media and some of those things, the people that really make the show happen, the people that make me look good, the people that mic me up and powder my shiny head or feed me a script or, hey, Kurt, like you need to ask at least these 2 questions of this person, that kind of thing. There's people that really help it happen. It's everybody from who's shooting with a camera or the microphone, or even just the people that are bringing water in between takes and those kind of things. The other thing, so if we talk about the London Bitcoin adventure, which was awesome, I need to give a huge shout out to Elle Liberté. She organized what had to be like the coolest experience for something like 25 of us, not all at once, but I think across the 4 or 5 days that there were things to do, something like 25 or 30 people got to participate in it. And I was really honored to get to be part of it. And then I want to give a shout out or sort of a word of like prayer, condolences. Nah, I guess it wouldn't be condolences because he survived, but Satoshi, outside of the Tower of London, we were outside the Tower Gate, and he slipped on slippery cobblestones. It was raining. And he caught an edge wrong and shattered his femur in front of everybody. And he didn't scream about it. He didn't cry about it. He turned pale as a ghost. Like he was very, very pasty, clearly in shock, but literally telling us like, listen, mate, I'll walk it off. Just bring me back to there was a flat called the Bitcoin Palace and stuff. He was like, just let me sit there for a little bit. I'm gonna shake it off. And I was pushing. I'm like, hey, I don't know how to call emergency services in this country. Like, what's 911 here? Like, this dude needs an ambulance. He is a mess. And it went on for like 5 minutes of people fussing about like, I don't know, give him water. Let's see if we can pick him up. And then, some of the people on the group are like, hey, drag this bench over. Let's pick him up. But I mean, when he's sitting there, like both his knee and his foot were facing a little too far the wrong direction for the way his hip was pivoted. So what I thought is that he blew his knee. My guess was that he slipped and his knee dislocated, like tore his ACL or something, dislocated. But no, he sent us x-rays and it was full femur snap. And so what I think he did is he caught the corner of a tall cobblestone, and they're kind of all over the place, where you can have like 5 inches of cobblestone sticking straight up and then a really sharp, hard angle. I mean, these cobblestones some of them look like granite. And so he caught a sharp angle right on that femur with all of his body weight and cracked it straight in half. And so, first of all, he's a champ, did not whine and cry about it. He literally was like, walk it off. I'm going to walk it off and I'm going to rejoin you guys. But yeah, it was really sad to see, because I was having a really good time with him and I wanted to spend more time with him. And it's a really big bummer. But if you're the prayerful type, send prayers, or just tag him on X, let him know you're thinking about him, and sending well wishes, because it was really good to see him. And I wish I could have spent more time with him, but it was rough, and he's going to have a long road of recovery ahead of him. The physical therapy is going to suck. And so Sirtoshi, be strong, brother. I miss you. I'm really glad I got to see you. I pray you recover well. And let's take the next question. How did this year compare in global participation? So I haven't seen the numbers yet. The joke has been, it's actually started at the Global Blockchain Conference. The funny thing was, I don't know, I posted a picture and said, wow, there's like 1,000 people here or something. And Peter McCormick goes and counts the chairs and the rows of chairs and says, it could only be, 350 people or something, even conceivably, in the spot and whatever. And so now I've turned it into, saying it's millions or whatever every time. I don't know. If I had to guess the crowd at LBC physically in attendance at any one time, I'd say the room could probably hold 2,000 people. And there was certainly hours and hours going on where the speaker halls were full. They have like a trade show style floor in the middle was very full. So, 2,000 people at a given time. I have no idea how to estimate flow, and I have not seen any official numbers as to how many people participated. But just observed, I probably observed between 2,000 and 3,000 individual people in the show. I have no idea what the external viewership numbers and clicks and engagement, all that stuff. That'll come out in the coming days or weeks. And yeah, so let's take another one. Let me read my comments from the Mr. Producer here. Yes. This is speaking of money, Eric. So when can we use money for payments or on a debit card? Good question. I don't know. But money, I can tell you right now, is working really hard on some things. I got to see the money people. Gavin Mell actually interviewed a couple of them, and I think he interviewed Ron, which, for anybody that doesn't know Ron from Money, Ron's a long timer and very enigmatic. He does not do interviews, and so to see Ron actually hop in front of a camera was a pretty funny thing. It was like, oh wow, Ron's breaking the fast here. Especially because Ron is such a good, he's so good on camera and really knows his stuff. And so I'm aware that people have been telling Ron he needs to do interviews for some time. So maybe they finally pushed him over the edge, but really good stuff. And then Harbin, who is a guy that I met earlier this year in Miami. He's kind of the guy in charge of money itself. Ron kind of runs the business, and then Harbin is the product guy. Harbin is great. And so we are going to be having him on the show very soon. We're working out the details right now to have Harbin on to talk all about money. So we're going to do a whole show about money in the very near future. We just got to work out the details. But I think you're going to be really excited because they're up to a lot of really cool stuff. So I'm not going to ruin any of the announcements for them. I know a little bit about what's going on, but I also don't know what I don't know. And Harbin's going to debut some of that stuff right here on the CoinGeek Weekly live stream. So subscribe, hit the alert bell, make sure you're paying attention for when that happens. But thanks for the question. I'm super pumped about money. I think it's a genuinely good product. Is 20,000 BSV price the Goldilocks price for BSV with 5,000 sats per dollar. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why the price should be what it is. Like, it is just simply the most undervalued asset in the world. Like, if blockchains are a good idea and the price of the asset reflects how good of an idea it is, well, we're exponentially more useful than assets that have like 10,000 times more value. And so you could look at it from like a pure hedge fund situation and say, there's like an asymmetric major misunderstanding about the quality of this technology, which means it's super investable, meaning it's undervalued. And so as for predictions or timelines, that's anybody's guess. But I keep saying it. Data is money. Data is the most valuable commodity, and BSV is the most capable tool for valuing that cannot be unlocked in any other way. And therefore, you're looking at BSV for severely undervalued. Next question, and we're coming up on just like 2 minutes left here on the show. Ben, will there ever be a US blockchain conference for BSV? I don't know. There's a big part of me that wants to start like an American BSV association or something like that for exactly this reason. There's lots of Americans that are doing lots of cool things. And if you look at the transactions on chain, like again, the OneSat team, you look at the money team, these are all New Worlders, right? At the very least, it's like Canadians, Americans, South Americans, and then people in the Caribbean that are kind of generating all the transactions on chain. Now, all of the management level or the official folks, you get a lot of Swiss and you get a lot of British, and that's great. I don't necessarily criticize any of them. I wish we had better tea and better chocolate here in the US, but they're not putting a ton of transactions on chain. They're doing all kinds of other stuff. No criticisms. But as the American here with the show, I'm going to say it's Americans that are putting transactions on chain. And so it would make sense to do a bigger American show. Shout out to Ty Everett, actually, who is using his own time, money, staff, infrastructure to put on hackathons. And I think that's super valuable. And he's doing it because he believes in the tech. So Ty, kudos to you. Keep it up. I hope those hackathons turn into, hackathons are better than conferences. Amen, Mr. Vidal. And I think that's key. And I think that's the way to do it, frankly. And then, we'll do a banger, man. We'll pick a real American city like Detroit or Cincinnati or Kansas City or something and do a cool show. Obviously, I would prefer to do it in Miami because it's just a hop, skip, and a jump for me. But we should do something in the middle of the country and make it, as difficult for everybody to get to. And I think that'd be a good thing. Could USD be backed by Bitcoin from a treasury reserve? Yeah, absolutely. I think a bundle basket reserve currency would be a really good thing. And to have a commodity-based dollar again would be excellent. Using BSV to do that, I mean, you could tokenize all kinds of things. You could make it a basket currency of US dollar, euro, British pound, throw in a couple of Asian currencies, and then, BTC, ETH, and I don't know, gold, some of these other things, and make a basket value currency that is undergirded by all those things. And then we all get to use the purchasing power of that so that it's not, it doesn't fluctuate. You don't have a giant Forex problem. I think there's an opportunity there. Somebody's got to do it. So let's bang it out. Have it at a Waffle House for the true American experience. Yes. 3 a.m. fights, somebody slapping cockroaches off the grill, making your waffles. Love it. That is America. MetaNet meetups coming soon too. Casey, I love you. I really appreciate how much work you put into the community on your own accord too. So no, that's a good idea. I love it. Any other questions or comments or anything? I cannot believe we're already at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This is crazy. Wow. Join us at the next London Blockchain Conference next year. Tickets available, maybe. I don't actually know. I don't work for LBC, so I couldn't tell you. But this is CoinGeek, and I'm Kurt. And you should subscribe, hit the alert bell. Read my article. I posted a really good article today about kind of my summary experience of being in London on the Bitcoin London Adventure, or London Bitcoin Adventure, and London Blockchain Conference. I gave a shout out to my brother in the article. So, Mr. Producer, tell Carl that he needs to read the article, and let him know there's a heck of a shout. There's a whole paragraph dedicated to Carl Wuckert. So, Mr. Producer, send him the article. I'd like Carl to read it too. He's, as I understand it, has something of a cold since getting home. And yeah, so that'd be good. But really, it was awesome. I really got to appreciate London as a tourist for the first time, and that was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of you next time. Also, I'm going to be doing coverage of the what is it called? Blockchain Futurist Conference in Miami in about a week and a half. It starts November 5th. It's going 5th through the 7th. I will be there with a team. We'll be putting stuff live to social, and we're going to have a deliverable of some rapport that comes out after, kind of going over the nature of the event. And those are really cool. I'm kind of old friends with Tracy, who runs those events. She's from Toronto and kind of discovered Vitalik Buterin, if you can believe it. So she's got a lot of connections in the space and runs a really, really good show. So I'm looking forward to that. And what else is going to happen? I don't know. That's it. This has been an Ask Me Anything show. I appreciate you people asking me anything. And truly, it's an honor to spend these hours with you. Without you, the viewer, this show would be absolutely impossible. So thank you very much. Be good to each other, because if we cannot be good to each other, then the rest of it ain't worth a thing. I'm Kurt Wuckert Jr. tuning out. I will see you next week. Goodbye.